Hey everyone, welcome to the Generally Magical podcast, where we talk about Disney, running, books, and much, much more. I'm Jen, also known as Running Through Wonderland on Instagram.
I'm Brittany, also known as the Show Yourself Runner on Instagram.
And I'm Michelle. Michelle runs Disney on Instagram.
And I am so very excited to introduce our special guest host for this episode, Julian, otherwise known as Bats About Disney on Instagram. And he is joining us because he is going to give us the inside scoop of all things D23 in Anaheim because we had major FOMO. So welcome, Julian.
Welcome.
Hey, hello. It was a goal of mine to tap into the FOMO, and it seems that was achieved.
Yeah,
that definitely worked for sure.
Good.
For following along, the messages were there.
Oh, I love it.
I can only imagine how many messages you received over the weekend, and I guarantee 95 of them are from me.
It was from Jen. Just her.
Just me.
Just her.
I'm like,
that tracks though. Jen sends a lot of messages when she's got a lot of FOMO.
I just want to be part of it.
And I went into it. I said, there are gonna be those folks that do that, and that's okay. And I'll welcome all the living vicariously through my page for the weekend. For the weekend.
You've got a whole bunch of things. I mean, just by looking at your Instagram, just so many people were super engaged with you. But before we get there, Julian, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Julian. My Instagram handle is Bats About Disney. I am a Walt Disney World local. I've been in the Orlando area for just over a few years and also content creating for just over a few years. I like many of us, got into content creating just by being a very frequent park goer and wanting to kind of spice things up a little bit and really sort of find the outlet to not only learn more about Disney and its offerings and just all these experiences that it has everywhere, but also to sort of share that with people that are not that don't get to be local in minutes from the park like me. I'm also a very, very avid Run Disney enthusiast. I have when is the season started? That is what we operate on off of race weekends. I have been doing Run Disney for 4 years. I started, my first race weekend was Princess 2020.
Oh my God.
So just before the world shut down. Yeah.
That's a way to start.
It was just genuinely it was my first Disney race, and then doing medal photos, and people were like, oh my gosh, what is this? COVID is happening, but it must not be that relevant because we're at Disney. But no, it actually became very relevant. And so yeah, I have done, oh my gosh, umpteen, so many 5Ks, 10Ks, 9 halves, 1 marathon, and we'll do my first Dope Beat challenge this January.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. That was the last challenge, the Run Disney challenge I have yet to do. So that is Run Disney in a nutshell. I think something that is so interesting about content creating is that you really get to make it your own, and what's beautiful about it is that you not only make it your own, but you also just meet so many phenomenal human beings. And what I have just loved and what has continued to spark my joy and just love for being a creator is the community, vast, far and wide, Disney, non-Disney, it has just filled my cup, and I just continue to let that be the spark that keeps me going through social media, through content creating in that space, and just kind of everywhere. So no, I'm happy to be here and so excited to talk about D23 because it was a lot.
I had no idea that Julian was going to make us emotional today.
No, we're all like, oh my gosh, that's so heartfelt.
Tuesday.
No, it's so wholesome.
It's a Tuesday.
It's a
I can't
Tuesday,
handle
y'all.
that.
So, for everybody that's going to tune into this episode, be prepared to cry in the first half.
It's
No.
okay.
Mm.
We'll be sobbing. We'll
Happy
blame,
tears, I promise.
It's happy tears.
I just want
tears.
to like circle back to like Run Disney for a second before we jump into D23. If any of you have seen this man running on the Run Disney courses, his freaking outfits are phenomenal.
They're chef's kiss.
So
Oh.
you may have seen Julian parading
Oh.
around dressed as the Cupid's arrow individual
I
from
remember that one.
Tangled.
Up house.
The Up House, yes, that was a good one.
As Up House, Cupid, Sebastian, Peter Pan's
That-
shadow. Oh my gosh, I have
Your
been
Lumiere.
Felix from Encanto. I've been Lumiere. I've been the White Rabbit. I have been Mickey Mouse. I've been. I think I'm missing one. I feel like I'm missing one from this past season. I mean, there's been a lot, but it's so funny. And I don't really think about this now because I think I've just sort of done this, like the costume running is now just a part of me. But I remember the first time Run Disney PhotoPass featured me, and I thought I was like, oh my gosh, like, I made it. Like I was on the Facebook page, like, oh my gosh, like I don't even need to do any more races at this point. And it was Maui. I was Maui.
Yep.
And they had
Oh.
me like pose and do like this like muscle pose at the finish line.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? Maybe this is just like the thing that like I just sort of leap in and just start doing it. And now it's just like taking off. I mean,
Listen, I gotta say that the Cupid costume was probably my favorite one that you've done.
Cupid was so, and what's so funny about that one, and it's funny because every costume I think about like what was happening the night before, because usually like that's when these costumes are being put together or like the final touches are getting all arranged. But I remember that particular costume was actually inspired by a post that I saw from Toy Story Dad. His name is Tucker, and his whole family went as all like Tangled from for Oogie Boogie Bash.
Yeah.
And I was like looking, I was like, what do I want to do for Tangled? And at first I was going to be a mime, and I said, I don't really want to do all that. And then I saw somebody in his family was Cupid, and I said, oh my gosh, I think I could totally make that work. And I said, I'm already bald. I just have to get like a wig. I just have to get a beard, and then I have to get like a bodysuit, and I'll just get like a diaper or like some like bed sheets, and everything genuinely played out so well. Probably the best costume for the last season, for sure.
Anybody on the outside of the Run Disney community hearing this conversation would be so very worried.
Why did you want to wear a diaper?
This
Like,
is
why?
Julian's thought process for costumes.
Oh, for real. I always think about it 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Like if aliens dropped from the sky and they landed in the Epcot parking lot and they saw this, what would they think? That's just my thought at 3 a.m.
They turn around and leave.
I love that.
It genuinely goes through my mind every single race weekend because of just how Run Disney people bring their A game
Yep.
for race weekends. So
If you know, you know. And I know Julian
know,
and
you
I
know.
have discussed a possible dual costume.
we have. Oh, yes, we have.
Oh, yes.
Are you gonna
Ooh.
tell us this Duca?
I don't know, Julian. Should we tell them?
I think we
let
should
them-
leave. I think time in due time.
In due time.
In due time.
In due time. I will reveal that it is for Princess Weekend.
Yes, that is true.
It is for Princess
Princess.
Weekend, but you'll have to stay tuned because I'm up in like the costume game because I'm gonna be working with Julian. I mean, I had Ursula's tentacles with me during the Princess 5K, but this is another level. So
This
I was
is
gonna
another
say
level.
because dyeing ourselves different colors isn't like upping the level, upping the ante.
oh
a
no,
little bit.
this is just gonna get we got
It's
plans.
even more.
We
We
got
got
plans.
plans.
We got plans.
Yep.
Not wait.
Anyway, we could talk about Run Disney forever, but this is about D23 and this is about you. And I know, I think I just said it before. I'm like, I definitely followed everything that was going on with your Instagram and social media because the FOMO was real. But going to D23, I think it was your first time going to D23, was it?
It was. I was a first time attendee, and that was a little nerve-wracking. And I think what was so crazy about that singular piece of being a first time attendee was that I am going into this completely blind, like no frame of context of anything that is what this event was, and in hindsight, like what I could have done to prepare, and what I, all the posts and videos and things that were, all kind of set up for my preparation. Like none of that is, some of it just goes out the window because you just are, I mean, it is just such a next level of like Disney hype and enthusiasm. It is genuinely that crazy.
Yeah,
So yes,
like
first
so
time.
I've been to conventions in Anaheim, I've actually helped put on like supplemental, activities for cons. And so I just look at D23 though, and I'm like, holy crap, that is so much bigger. Like I've seen just, events at, the Anaheim Convention Center, but then, and little things in the hotels, but there's so much more in there that it's so easy to get overwhelmed. And even someone who is familiar with Disney and familiar with Anaheim, that you're still just like, oh, how do I get my bearings?
Would you
Yeah.
say that like watching YouTube videos and different like um creators, like would you say watching their videos prior to going helped, or did it make it a little bit more overwhelming because you just went in kind of brand new to the whole event?
Yeah. I would say so, a little bit of a mix. So the great thing about the creators that will broadcast and share the ins and outs of G23 is that they will certainly sort of hit on, I would say, more like strategy pieces to going about the event. So I did like absorb as much as I could from them on that angle, thinking about where I stay, thinking about what time I'm getting to the convention, thinking about where I'm going to enter in from the convention, thinking about those types of pieces from the sake of the experience. They are, of course, highlighting broad things or very distinct experiences that the guests and attendees can enjoy. But as you all know, like it changes every year. And so what you see one year could look totally different than the next. And even when you're in that moment, you're on the expo floor, and it's just like I think of it like a big candy store because you just don't know what you just I want to go there, but I also want to go there, and I also want to see this, and I also want to do that, and everything just goes out the window in that case. For me, at least, it did on the first day. I compared when I arrived at the expo hall day one, and even the next day, I felt in a way very different on now that I have my bearings. Now I need to go about this in a very tactical way.
It's
What were some of those
incredible.
things that were like your must-dos going into it?
Yeah, so part of what they have attendees do beforehand, so about a few weeks before the actual conference, or not the conference. I'm used to working with a bunch of conferences. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. It's like a
Don't
Disney
apologize.
conference.
It's a Disney conference. We're all here for important business. And along with all the rest of the attendees, we could submit our preferences. And these were preferences for sessions. These were preferences for panels, talent, signing, things like that, like those types of experiences. And we could rank four of each. I think it was like sessions slash panels, talent. Maybe there was another one in there for each day. We could rank four for each category per day. So a total of, what would that be? Like 36 preferences for the entire duration of the event. And of course, like some sessions like repeat, or some of the experiences are repeated because they just want to make sure as many guests can enjoy them. But for some of these like really distinct ones, there's just the one session, or there's just the one time. So I did that beforehand. And I genuinely just went through all of the different ones, and I said, that's interesting. Don't really care about that. And then from there started to just like build out my schedule and just what I was hoping for. Now, people had said, "Oh yeah, like you'll get like most of your preferences. Oh, actually, you won't get none. You won't get any of your preferences." And so I just had no idea what to expect. And there were some I was like, I really hope I get this. And I got 2 out of 36.
Oh.
And that's about on target for the others that I spoke with about how many did you get? Did you get what you wanted? Most folks got at least 2. Now, once you got your initial 2 from D23 before the event, then there was like almost this sort of like on the app, the D23 app, you could trade and you could throw a session in there and then
Oh,
grab it if you wanted it or whatnot, or oh, I didn't want this, and you could put it in there for someone else to take.
Sounds
Now,
like
of
it's
course,
Pokemon.
So I was about to
It's
say, it
pretty
sounds
much-
like a Loricana trading
Lorcana,
card game.
or like Pokemon, like give me
swapping
my Pokemon
chips.
cards.
well, the problem is though, when you
Give
have
you my
like
Mewtwo.
thousands and thousands of people, the second you put it in there, it's gone.
Yeah.
can't
So-
change your mind.
Yeah, like you cannot change your mind. Once it's in the pool, it's pretty much a done deal. Or it's gone and like you can't get it back. So I didn't see anything that not even anything. I genuinely I think maybe saw one, maybe less than 24 hours the day prior to the first session. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna just go and wing it and just sort of just see kind of how it is the first day. Because the other option is so like those sessions, those are called reservations. And once if you have that, you are guaranteed you're given the highest priority to see that particular talent, that particular session or panel or whatever. So if you don't have a reservation, then you're waiting in the standby queue. And I have just heard like the horror stories of people having to just wait. And you're like, oh my gosh, how long do I have to wait before I get into this, maybe get into this next this thing that I want to see. So I was balancing that, right? Of like, okay, giving myself an hour, let me do whatever I want to do. And then an hour before the thing I wanted to do, okay, I'm gonna get in line. And the lines were long, like they're not short, they're long.
Disney.
Disney.
And it's just this, I mean, and you just have to, kind of make the most of it. It's good to have line buddies, and it's good to, get the, see familiar faces, which I'm sure I'll talk about in a second of kind of the folks that I met at the event. But all in all, like it was definitely like a coin toss as far as for some of these sessions. And I would say like for the ones that are more kind of like panel like where there's like a moderator and they're talking about said thing. So for example, the first one that I did was 30 years of Toy Story. And I love Toy Story. Like that is my movie series. Like Disney Pixar, like, that is my top tier for me. So I knew I want to make sure that I get into that session. So I waited probably about a good hour, and they're in like a pretty expansive, like kind of stage kind of part of the convention center. So they're just like filing people in. And I got in, great panel, got to hear like all these different stories about like the making of Toy Story and some of the stuff that, people may not know about the movie. And, that was a great like A+ win for like doing the standby experience. On the other end, I waited in line to meet Andrew Stanton, who was one of the writers on Toy Story and a huge writer for Pixar, in Talent Central. So Talent Central was like the more like kind of formal place in the whole exhibit hall where all these, legends and ambassadors and producers and writers and just people that, are working behind the scenes on all these movies that we love, they were meeting and doing signings, photos, things like that. Waited standby to meet Andrew Stanton, and was unfortunately turned away. And I was maybe like 10 people away, and they were pretty strict, because they're on a schedule. Like you got to bring in the next person, and
Yeah.
it's a pretty like kind of coin toss as far as if you're in standby, and they just try to get through as many as they could. But two different examples of one that went very well and one that in that moment was like, darn, like didn't get to meet the person that I wanted to, but it all actually ended up working out because of because of another situation that I can maybe share about in a second.
Ooh.
Oh.
So how much did you cry when they announced Toy Story 5?
Yeah, I was pretty shook. Like the toys versus tech, I think is the most brilliant storyline ever. I and like we're all talking, like I'm talking in the frame of like the expo hall, like the
Mhm.
Honda Center was like a whole nother caliber of emotion. It's like I cannot even emphasize, and this was the first time that they've done these showcases, right?
Mhm.
So this was the
Yeah.
first time that they're like, okay, you have the all day in the Anaheim Convention Center, you're hustling, bustling all the sessions and the expo, all of that, and then people are then shuttled to the Honda Center for these experiences and entertainment showcases and the legend ceremony. So separate event, totally, not something that you could do standby for, but if you had a ticket, you could get into the Honda Center. And I was always one of those people and kind of like thinking about like why I wanted to attend D23. I had watched the Parks panel in 2024 at the 100th D23. And I said, like, okay, like you're in the room, like big deal. Like I'm watching on, some vloggers stream. Like I'm getting the news in essence around the same time as you. When I say that being in the room as they are rolling these announcements out is second to none as far as the thrill and just the excitement and just all the emotions, like the crying and the screaming and the like, it is second to none because you are genuinely the first humans on the planet to be shown some trailer or some teaser or to know the title of some film or to know that they're making something else. Like it is a whole nother level. And I was not prepared for that. When they started what was it? That was Friday night. That was the entertainment showcase. And they started with the performers and Alui from Moana and The Rock singing one of the songs from Moana 2. I about melted in my chair.
I have goosebumps you just talking about it.
Yeah.
Oh, like it's genuinely, and they don't tell you what's coming next. They just start opening doors. They just start opening things up on the stage, and then you're just like, oh, this is what we're doing. And or they just start showing things on the screen, or somebody will say a line and it'll cue somebody to do something. And it's just wow, like this is happening right here, right now.
So
And yeah.
I gotta know, how did you feel about Deadpool and his little
Deadpool
Run
is
Disney antics?
Yeah, yeah, he took a jab at Run Disney. I think that could be totally a teaser, and I'm just gonna put it out there now. That could totally be a teaser for 25-26 season. Deadpool,
A
Marvel, like
Wolverine
a whole Marvel
run.
weekend.
Bring
Just
back the
saying,
Marvel weekend.
just
Woo!
saying. I think people would go crazy if there was a Deadpool themed race.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
So
Well, hey, it could
I just
happen.
it
I
could
would feel
happen.
bad for all of the people who try to dress up as Deadpool because I can tell you, doing the Stitch, Britt, you doing Mike, like we know what running in onesies, not a good
Running in
idea.
onesies is not fun at all.
Not fun at all. No, it's not. But
Um,
it's crazy, it's unreal, it's surreal, and just for those types of the showcases and rolling out just like the parks announcements and the movie announcements as well, you're just wanting it to keep going, but then you're like, oh my gosh, like as a creator, like I'm sitting in my chair trying to get these updates out and trying to like push this content as fast as I can. I think my phone was like, chill the out. But like it was one of those like moments where you're just like wow. It was a wow reaction to everything that happened because you just don't know what is coming next. And I mean, just everything. I mean, I'm blanking on like all the stuff that was just rolled out. I mean, yeah, the Moana 2 performance, the Captain America teaser, the Snow White live action teaser, Freakier Friday, Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, people were screaming. I think like genuinely screaming.
It's gonna be so good.
Avatar, I mean, just it unreal.
Listen,
It
you gave all of us FOMO because we were all just tuning into your stories and like
was
just clicking through for like all of the announcements.
I
I
was
know,
trying to keep up.
And then
I
we're
know
sending
for
it to
like
each other like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
did you see this?
I know for
It's
like the Lilo
amazing.
and Stitch announcement, I was like,
Oh yeah.
oh my God.
Live action Lilo and Stitch, Avatar Fire and Ash, Incredibles 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And of course,
mean,
it's all
just
happening Pacific time. And so
oh
we're
yeah.
all staying up until, 2 a.m., still
Us
trying to
East
get
Coasters
updates.
were just living on coffee and a dream, man.
Like, I can't stay up this late.
It was unimaginable. And that was what I think that first night I was like, I'm so like after the entertainment showcase, I'm like, this is done. I could go home now.
Oh no, you
I
couldn't
could
go
go
home
home
now
now and I would
We're
because
be
done. No.
we we had things to talk about. Like that was only night one.
yes.
We're talking about
That was
movies.
only night one. I know that was only night one. And you're sitting there thinking like if that was the energy for night one,
What?
what is coming tomorrow?
Oof.
I
Oof.
We
mean,
didn't know.
I I
So
th I think there were many things we weren't prepared for night two.
yeah, no, I definitely
Mm-mm-mm.
don't think so. Um,
No.
Going on to the experiences or the more talent port
Yeah.
portion that like you were able to experience, what was the most magical interaction that you had with somebody that you were able to interact with during the weekend?
Yeah, so I will share one that was with an attendee and one that was with talent. So one that was with an attendee, her name is Liz, and I actually met her in line to meet Andrew Stanton. She was a couple folks behind me, and we both like were told like, no, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to meet him. Well, the next day, both of us were lingering around to meet Alui from Moana, the voice of Moana,
Mhm.
and there was they did not offer standby. They said no standby, and some magic was made, and both of us were able to get into the queue to get to meet her, and it was magical, and she was super fun and super like upbeat. And it was like that moment, it was like, oh, because we both like we try to have like a plan, right? So she was signing these big movie posters, and I'm like, I don't really think that's like super fun, but I want her to sign. They were giving away like more of like a more kind of like I don't want to say like handheld, but a smaller size Moana 2 like poster because they
Mm.
had like they had like a walkthrough experience to like a photo op walkthrough experience, and they were handing those out. And I said I want her to sign that. That is something I could put in my living room. I could like display in my home. Like I'm not going to put some big like super massive movie poster in my home. But anyway, so I went and grabbed a couple of those for us. Came back, we're both in line. We like have the game plan. We're meeting her. She signs it. We get our photos, like super, super cool. And there was that moment genuinely when you're like, out of all the thousands of people here, we worked together to make this happen because we both didn't have standby and we were both trying to like really meet her, and we made it work, and it was phenomenal. So much that the next day in the evening for the legend ceremony. So my original seats were all the way up in the nosebleeds. She was able to be on the floor, and she was like maybe I would say no more than like 15, 20 rows back, pretty much in the center on the floor. And she messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm able to get you on the floor. There's the gentleman next to me that has an extra ticket," and like got to watch the legend ceremony, like
Oh my
seeing
gosh.
Oh
all
my
14
God.
legends, like in the flesh, right there, like not on the screen, but like in the moment right there. And that like genuinely like brought me to tears because it's like I just met her the day prior. And it was just one of those things where you're like, wow, like that is like I couldn't have asked for that. Like I was ready to go watch it from the nosebleeds. I was ready to watch it from,
Yeah.
hundreds of feet away, but it was just so kind of her to be able to do that. And just again, it wasn't her ticket, but it was the gentleman next to her's ticket, and it just worked out, and got to have an amazing night watching the legends be honored. But so that was probably the most magical interaction with a fellow attendee.
Hmm.
I mean, just cannot, just unmatched. Like cannot ask for anything more. The most magical interaction I would say with talent was I was able to very, very briefly meet Bob Gurr. And I was, he is my favorite Imagineer, legend, like all things Disney. Um, and he was on a little ECV, like headed out of the expo. And it was a very quick interaction, but I was able to get a photo and just thank him. And that did it for me. Like the last day, all about legends, and like be able to see him right then and there was just what did it for me. So
I'll say it
Sometimes that's all it
again.
takes.
I'll say it once and I'll say it again. Us Disney adults, this community is a solid built community. And that is absolutely incredible that you made that connection with a fellow Disney fan and you had that magic. That's freaking amazing.
it
You
was
definitely
pretty
got pixie
surreal.
dusted that weekend too.
Yes,
Quite
it
a few
was
times.
quite a few times, and just all the magic was there. Now, can I share like a funny moment that like really put me in a panic?
Of course.
I mean, it
I
wouldn't
did
be
not
Disney if you didn't panic at some point.
I mean, you're
did not
talking to
share
all
this.
three of us who are prone to panicking at any moment in
Yeah.
time. So
I did not share this on my page, so this is an
it's a
exclusive
Julian
first share.
Ooh, exclusive material.
So
We're teasing that.
I am meeting our global ambassadors, all from all six parks and resort Alani. I'm meeting all six of them, or all six sets of them, or seven of them, I'm sorry. And I like, it's a very kind of busy meet. Like, you're meeting them, you're taking a photo, you're like, trying to like have a brief conversation. I put my bag down that has I had some merch in there. I had my crossbody. I had a fan. I had stuff. I just my stuff in there. I put it down for maybe a minute, and I am like finishing the meat, and it's gone, like gone, and and like nowhere to be found. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like my bag is gone, and I'm like, well, and I have nothing. Like I have all my like the stuff that I can track my phone, like AirPods, all that. Like I can all pocket, not in my bag. And I'm going to like the people that are managing the meet. And I'm like, hi, did you by chance move a bag? And they're like, what does it look like? It was the convention bag that they gave us on the first day.
So like everybody
has
else's.
everybody else. Oh no.
it looks just like that one, and that one, and that one over there too, and that one over there as well. And it was like, I mean, genuinely a needle in a haystack moment. And you're like, bag's gone. Like it's maybe somebody just accidentally picked it up and it's gone. Like there's nothing I can do about it. And it would definitely like had a little dip in the day. It was not a pleasant time over the next 2 hours to like
No.
try to like work through. Okay, like did I catch like a photo of anybody like by happenstance like in front of me in line or behind me? Nothing. Like I genuinely had nothing to work with. And I
My
had to
God.
go to guest relations. I had to go back to the booth. I genuinely went back and forth. I was able to ask Serena and Shannon, our Walt Disney World ambassadors, lovely, I was like, hey, do you mind checking to see if there was like maybe somebody that took it backstage? Nothing, like everything was just like, no bag. And I'm like, you know what? I mean, it's all material, so no big deal. But like that feeling that it just like it disrupts your equilibrium. It's like, sure, like everything in there is replaceable, but that's my bag. Like I don't have that anymore.
Please
So I'm
tell
just
me
like
you
walking.
found it.
This is mine.
So I am ready to go to like the Anaheim Convention Center security staff to like just say like, hey, like I think there might be a surveillance camera that was positioned there. Like, do you all mind helping me? Maybe like I can fill out whatever you need me to fill out, but I'm pretty certain like I know I didn't just move my bag. And as soon as I'm like talking to the gentleman, it gets returned to Lost and Found at GR. And they're like, and it actually was this Imagineering hat that I just bought. And I'm like, I don't want to wait in the line again, like to go get the same hat and like all this. And they're like, does it have like a gray, like what type of hat is in there? I was like, it's like a black and gray Imagineering hat. And they're like, is this it? And I'm like, I like almost fell to the floor.
Thank you.
Oh my God,
So-
I can't.
It was you know, I don't go praying for material things, but it was like an exhale. Like, okay, we're good. We're good.
AWA has delivered your bag.
Yeah. So it was somebody from the booth or somebody
Oh
around
my God.
dropped it off and then brought it back to guest relations GR, and that was that was how I retrieved it as I was standing right there.
I love when people return things if they're lost.
Yeah.
I know.
Or bring them to Lost and Found. Like that's just
You know, because I
Did
mean
the
it's
right thing.
they did the right thing, and you know it's like I said, it's material stuff. It's nothing that can't be replaced, but I definitely was not expecting that to be like a little dip in the day because it definitely was a dip. And at the end of the day, I was just so blessed to say like, okay, there are good people in the world. There are good people in the world, and we are able, even in the madness of D23, able to like, this is not mine, and I'm going to take this to somebody to the proper place because somebody is probably panicking right now, and
Yeah.
that would be me.
I'm
and
so
they were
glad.
right.
I'm so glad it got
Yeah.
returned to you because that would have just been like,
Oh, it was terrible, genuinely like terrible, and I mean, what are you going to do? It looks like everybody else is back.
The Disney magic continues
Yes.
to befall.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh. I would have had a panic attack. I think I
Mhm.
probably would have been lying in the corner in the fetal position, like crying my eyes out,
Oh yeah.
like not knowing what to do with my life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Definitely
So
was not fun.
kudos to you for holding it together and kudos to the
Thank you.
person who brought back your stuff,
Thank you to whoever that may be.
whoever that
If
may
you're
be.
listening, let us know.
Yeah, just let us
You're
know.
listening.
If you happen to find his bag and returned it,
Yeah.
thank you.
I owe you a
returned-
dinner. I owe you a dinner at a Disney park. Like,
You
generally
returned
speaking.
a Disney convention bag, one of the millions, I'm sure, with
Yes,
a hat.
genuinely. Genuinely.
So I have to ask because I know there was
Mhm.
so much that you were going around, so much that you were seeing. I know I was texting you like, oh my God, go back to this place and look at this exhibit. But what was your favorite exhibit to go visit and why was it the Avatar booth?
Yes. Oh my gosh. And you like genuinely just pulled the words out of my mouth. So, yes, Avatar booth was was my favorite booth to go through. And the reason why is because two things. One, I think that entire just whole setup was just the lighting and the detail and the Navi like throughout the experience, like just super deliberate in how it was all positioned and like how you could take photos and like the water and just the big old avatar photo op in the front of the walkthrough. Like everything was, they did it that so well. And that was just so amazing to see. The second reason why it was my favorite is because Disney's Animal Kingdom is the only theme park that has Avatar at this point.
Mhm.
And
Right
I think like right now, at this moment, and on August 20th, 2024, this is the only Walt Disney World is the only theme park that has Avatar in its, which is seeing guests from Disneyland. And I actually met the Disneyland Paris ambassadors, Dylan and Jose, in the line for that experience. And they're walking through with their phones, like just taking it all in. And it was like, wow, like these things that other Disney goers and fans don't have at their home park, we do at Walt Disney World. And like that was just like like cannot wait for you all to get to experience this as like something that is a part of your home base, your home park. But I left out of there just being like, wow, like I I'm biased. Walt Disney World is my favorite. Let the record show. Like that is my favorite. Like I am a WDW loyalist. And and
Planting that flag.
like planting that flag, like that is my home park. And I just think like those types of distinct things that we just don't like that not every park around the world gets to kind of take in for themselves from an attractions, from food, from merchandise, all of that. Like that was a really surreal moment for me to say, like, you know what, like this is cool, and I'm so excited for the guests that will get this back in one at Disneyland. Sure, yes, but also like who maybe eventually will get it, overseas. So that was what did it for me, and definitely my favorite exhibit. I will say a little asterisk in that question.
An addendum.
An addendum. Seeing Walt Disney Imagineering after the park, after the Horizons and the experiences showcase the next day, seeing that and being able to see the models of all the updates that were announced was very, very cool. Like a very like just you could call them like, should I call them a tie? Sure, maybe, but like being able to see the actual models of where everything will be with Animal Kingdom, with the Lion King area in Paris, and Monsters Inc. land at Hollywood Studios.
Oh my
Oh
God.
goodness.
I'm so
Like,
excited for that.
like just seeing those things like in from a model standpoint was like, oh my gosh, like it's not just like an idea or a concept, like this is what they're thinking, and how they're going to roll it out. And seeing Casita just just did it for me. Like I was like, this is it, this is good, this is all good.
I have to say the one of the bigger FOMO moments that I had when you were posting was of the Avatar walkthrough. Listen, I know those movies are so long, but they are so good. And then just I'm sure doing that walkthrough was just surreal in the moment.
Oh yeah. And then to know that James Cameron was being inducted as a Disney legend 2 nights after, was just like what took it to the next level. Seeing Zoe Saldana like present, not only is she going to be in Elio, I don't know how the movie is pronounced, but like the new Pixar movie, Elio.
She's everywhere.
She's everywhere. And
She
like
is everywhere.
I've watched her movies for a very long time, and just was like, this is it. Like just full circle. Lots of full circle moments at D23 24.
It'll make me cry again.
That's awesome. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about some of the things that you saw for night 2, but really just describe your feelings for Horizons. All of the announcements. I mean, for us to go from, last D23 and having, blue sky, like, hey, these are wishes and dreams, to having ground is being broken on these announcements. Like,
Yeah.
where were you?
Yeah. It was funny. I had a little bit more of a I would say of a prepared mindset after night 1. So like I was ready to go. Like I said, okay, try to get as much as you can in, but like it's gonna be like a fire hydrant. And once Josh just starts talking, like it's just gonna be one thing after another, and it's just gonna cascade. I think where it really sort of took it to the next level was one, certainly with Animal Kingdom, and seeing that more kind of flourished as an idea and a concept. But then also Starlight, and that being the new nighttime parade next summer, was like, if you know anything about me, it is that I am a sucker for Disney entertainment, particularly parades and cavalcades in the streets. But that was what did it for me. And I said, that is super cool and going to totally reimagine what nighttime life is
Mhm.
at the Magic Kingdom. And so that was really cool. That kind of took it to the next level. Also, something that was really, really unique and seeing um the new the new nighttime kind of spectacular in Paris and the hearing the vocalists and the performers sing various songs and renditions of just classical entertainment songs from just showcases and parades and fireworks shows and all of that, like just we just all know and love. Like that was really cool. And I think I posted this on my page. My first trip to Walt Disney World was in 2021. Or no, I'm sorry, it was in 2001. So that
Gonna
was what,
say
20.
you were
Oh yeah,
taking races before you went to the parks. How'd
you
that
know,
work out?
that's how it all works. That's math is great. Disney math is fun. But 2001, May of 2001, and Remember the Magic was the first parade that I saw on Main Street. And when the individual like started singing lyrics from that, like I got chills because like that
Mhm.
was like the first memory that I genuinely like that I remember concretely making at Disney. So I was just blown away. And then to cap off the night, um
Oh,
We know
the
how they
one
capped it off.
the cap, as if we're no, we're about 2.5 hours over. It's supposed to be from 7 to 9. It's bleeding like 9:30 at this point.
time
People
is
are
a
like,
construct.
what?
What's time?
What
wasn't
else is there
done.
going to say? Like how Deadpool has done his thing. He's came out and roasted everybody. And then Magic Mirror comes on the screen.
Oh,
Oh,
if I was sitting in there.
And and
The
I think in
screens.
that and I think in that moment it's like, I mean, just I think everybody in the room, everybody was like, what is happening next? Like you just don't know. And then in that moment when Josh said we were building a villain's land in the Magic Kingdom, I think was the loudest out of section 402 because I was like, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Immediately texts me and goes,
And I
"Jen!"
immediately text Jen and I said, this is for you. This is for you. Your people are coming to the Magic
Your
Kingdom.
My people are migrating home.
They're coming
I
home.
mean, you talk about something that like just
hits.
grand slam and hits, like wow. And the fact that that's coming to Walt Disney World is going to be
I
spectacular.
think all of the Walt Disney World goers that are either annual pass holders or come on vacation, I think that was like the cherry on top of the cake for us when they announced Villains
Oh
Land
yeah.
because I fell asleep before I could like catch up to all those announcements and I was
Mhm.
trying so hard not to. And then in the morning I woke up and saw Villains Land and I was like, oh.
And what was crazy, even the other thing that I thought about this of like Walt Disney World, we are getting an update at all four parks.
Yes.
Mhm.
So some sort of an update is coming over the next 2, 3, 4 years to all four of our parks. And leave it at that.
I'm just
Yeah.
also so excited to see like love for the other parks too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom's in like desperate need of an update, but I have to ask, how do you feel about Dinosaur being replaced?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I did see there were a few Dr. Seekers there in
Rest in
cosplay.
peace, dinosaur.
And you know, I used to not be a dinosaur guy. I used to think like, this ride is like not me, like not it. Uh I'll probably shed a tear. I'll probably shed a
Just
tear.
one. Just one.
I mean, it's
Brit's gonna
Yeah.
she'll have several tears shed
It's-
for.
might
yeah,
shed a
like
lot.
it's gonna be it's gonna be a rough one to say goodbye to, but I think it will be okay. It's gonna
hope
be
so.
it's gonna be all right. I think they were just how they did with Splash Mountain and Tiana. I think they may, if we know Disney how we all know Disney, we could, definitely see an Easter egg or two.
Yeah.
The whole concept of the attraction in Casita is, all about animals,
Mhm.
Antonio's powers. Holy, could see a dinosaur up in there. I don't know. Just
I
saying.
mean, Indy is an architect. There's or
This is
an
true.
archaeologist, not an architect.
Yeah.
He could be an architect as well. You never know.
Could be.
You never
This
know.
is true. Listen, that ride, like I've been going to Disney since like I was 2. Thank my parents for that. But every single time we would go to Animal Kingdom, that was like a must do was dinosaur.
Mhm.
So that ride is like near and dear to my heart. Like I think the one day, I don't remember if it was like soon after D23, somebody had posted a picture of dinosaur without Aladar in the front. And I was like, no
She
way.
panicked.
She
I
panicked.
panicked.
There was sheer panic.
I was
You're
like,
like, they
they're
already
starting
took
this
it.
already.
It's already gone.
But listen, it was this person did either some AI stuff with their photo or whatever because somebody did some deep dive and he is still there. But
Right.
but yeah, that ride I'm excited to see Indiana Jones because of Disneyland and how they have that ride structured.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna miss Dinosaur. Like that has like a what was the
Yeah.
other ride in Dino
I'm
Land
sorry. Primeval Whirl has my heart, guys.
But why?
Because that was like Disney chaos at its finest. Like you didn't know it was
It's
happening. You just hoped you got off the ride at the end.
Without
This
a
is-
broken back, neck, anything.
Yeah,
You think those
all your limbs
bobsleds are bad
together.
at the Matterhorn? You guys should have ridden Primeval Whirl.
Primeval Whirl
you
was-
know. Yeah, Primeval Whirl. Mm.
Rest in
All
peace,
right.
Definitely
Primeval.
did not have a young body anymore after coming off of that ride.
No, I didn't either. I
I
didn't either. But no, love to see all the love that all 4 parks got,
Yeah.
and love to see just the continual growth to the place to the most magical place on earth.
So you touched on a little
Sorry.
bit about how excited you were for Toy Story 5, but
Mhm.
what other what other
Just a little.
things that you saw or heard at D23 that were being announced, what were you most excited for?
Villain's Land. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was for
Well,
me.
obviously.
Villain's Land. I think and I'll say this, the last thing I'll say about Villain's Land, because I think it will totally, if Not So Scary continues to be the Halloween party, I think it will
Ooh.
totally reimagine Mickey's Not So Scary.
Thank you.
Just saying.
I agree.
That was one of the first reactions that I had when, and maybe it was because I was going to Not So Scary the next week, but it was the fact that, okay, now we have villains in the park. There's a Halloween party in the same park. I think there's a lot of potential for that.
You can have the trails, you can bring them in. They're not shoved into Fairy Tale Hall.
You know, I
That was
just
the
think that
weirdest
this
thing.
totally opened the door for a lot to be reimagined with Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. So that was definitely up there. I think the other thing I would say, yes, of course, Toy Story 5, like, you know, that's coming 2026, like get here now.
Let's go.
I thought if Tim Allen and Tom Hanks would have came behind the doors, I probably would have dropped to the floor.
Oh no.
Yeah, so those 2, Villains Land, Toy Story 5, Freakier Friday,
Okay.
when I think, and I know that I knew it was going to be asking a lot for them to have any sort of teaser, like the fact that they brought both of them out to share that like on the stage right then and there was very, very cool to witness and like see firsthand, which is okay. Like I was like, we have a title. We have a title.
We have a title.
It's
We have a
happening.
title. It's happening. I
There's just so much to go through in your head.
There's just
like-
genuinely so much to go through. You know, I'll also say, so I will own this. I am not a huge Marvel person. I am not, that is not like, I will own it. Nothing against Marvel, just like not my, I'm not the, you know, I'm not my thing, from the sake of like, you're not going to see me, you know, binging all the Marvel movies.
Yet.
But the teaser that they shared about Captain America,
Mhm.
and I'm blanking on the title now.
Brave New World.
Brave New World, thank you.
I got you.
You will catch me in the theater seeing that movie. That
It looks
trailer
really good.
looks amazing. And the fact that Harrison Ford is Hulk just takes it to a whole nother level.
I can't. I saw that and went, oh my gosh.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that will be the movie that gets me hooked to Marvel. But I mean, if anybody knows me, like I'm Disney, I am Pixar, Marvel is just like it just yeah.
And draw you in.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
doesn't but it is
That's okay.
amazing. It is awesome. But like I said, that movie may get me hooked because I go to movies based off of the excitement of a trailer, and that trailer knocked it out of the park.
Oh, we'll have to have you come back after it's released and we'll talk
Yeah.
about your
Yeah.
feelings. Because
Yeah.
I'd be interested to hear from a non-person that's like really non-person, a non-Marvel person.
Non-Marvel person. Yep.
Because you are a person indeed, I will say.
I am.
I would love to hear your feedback on now that you've been introduced to the Marvel universe, what are your feelings on it? And I feel like with Brave New World, you wouldn't really have to watch the entire Marvel
Catalog.
saga to get it because it's
Yeah.
technically a new chapter.
Yeah.
I would agree.
I would I am now the world is totally open to being hooked on that because that teaser just killed it.
Just another thing to add onto your list of things to do.
Yes.
And
100%.
no big deal. No big deal.
No big deal. Casual.
I mean, your entire experience at D23 not only made most of us jealous that we weren't there, but it was just so incredible to see it through your eyes. And for somebody that I have gotten the pleasure to know more and more through our Run Disney experiences and just kind of chatting, it just has an authentic feel to you that I just couldn't help but like, oh, I was always like, oh, what's Julian doing? Or where's Julian going? And I know I was bombarding you with text, but I feel like just the way that, I mean, your posts meeting the voice of Moana, so many people commented how happy you look and how wonderful you were with her and just the interaction. So it just goes to show you what a pleasant and a pleasant and a heartwarming person that you are and how grateful I know I am that I was able to kind of see it through your eyes. But with that being said, I'm assuming you're going in 2026 and you're taking me this time, right?
Done. Totally like sold. Like you do not have to like it
Not a
is
chance
not
he's missing it.
up. It is not for any discussion. Like it is happening. I will be at D23 2026.
I have to
I
jump off of what Jen said for a second. Like watching your stories and your content throughout that weekend, you are such a light and a positive light. It was surreal getting to watch you post what you were most excited about and the experiences that you were having versus seeing what somebody else was posting and what they were having experience wise. And it was just, like I said, I told you this in the message. I was like, I hope you're having the most amazing time and I love this for you. But I'm also very jealous.
It's like we
Well,
love you, but right now we don't.
we don't
Exactly.
right now it's killing us right now. No, thank you. First off, that was very kind. I all I know how to do is be me. All I know how to do is post through my own eyes. I think what was so grand for me that weekend was I walked away with it feeling not only like filled from like a Disney fanatic cup way, but feeling that so many people that are around the world watching my page that are following or not following or whatever, just seeing whatever I'm posting, like they're getting to see it as well. And I remember, I think I said before I left, I said, I'm just so excited to be able to share with people from afar about what my experience will be because I'm genuinely going in it with an open mind. I'm genuinely going in it that I don't know what to expect. I know it's going to be worthwhile, but I'm not going in with this very prescriptive list of these are the things I'm not going to do. These are the things I am going to do. Like I just genuinely let it let the event kind of just take me. And I think that was so helpful, and it really translated to the content that I was posting, because I tried to, at least from how I approached it, I tried to encapsulate what the weekend was about for so many people, whether it was the pin trading, which, people love that. I mean, there's a whole segment of people at Disney that love pin trading.
Mhm.
There's a segment of people that love Lorcana. Like, there's a people that love the cosplay. There's a ton of people that love, just, I don't care about anything else. I just want to know what's happening in the parks. Like, all of those different segments of Disney that were represented that weekend. And I think I just tried to show it as authentically as I know how. And I'm just happy it fills my cup to know that you enjoyed seeing it, because I know that it's crazy in the moment. There's like all the emotions. There's the, like, how do I even spell this out and make this concise that people actually want to watch it and see it and think it's interesting. I'm just going based off of what I know how to do. And I think that was D23 certainly was the platform for me to be able to just share what's happening next, and to get everybody so excited.
You shared genuinely what was important to you and it connected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. And that's what I try to do. I think that's the spirit of my page, and something that I've reflected on a lot is, when I first started, was trying to share everything about everything, and that does not work for me. And it doesn't get me excited. It just gets me tired of, did I get on all these different points that people were going to ask one question on, and then, like, okay, that's fine. But genuinely just bringing in, like, this is a this is Disney through my eyes, run Disney theme parks. And I'll even put this little teaser out there, like, who knows what is going to be coming next with Bats About Disney. Like, I'm exploring that myself, of what is coming next. And I think something that is getting me very excited about the new Run Disney season kicking off in a few weeks, with Disneyland Halloween weekend, Wine and Dine a few months later, like, all the different things happening in Orlando. Just, there's a lot happening, and I'm excited about it, and think it'll be really fun to see what comes next.
Can't wait to see you after Dopey. I want to hear your
Oh.
opinions of your
Oh.
Dopey
We're gonna have an
experience.
episode on marathon weekend, and you need to come back, because you're
I
doing
will-
Dopey for the first time. I'm doing my first marathon in a Goofy. I would love to just have a chat and be like, how did you survive?
Yeah.
How did
You
I
did it.
survive?
Let's see.
Let's talk
that
about
seems
that.
that seems like forever, but it's not forever from now. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's gonna be fun. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna leave it at that.
We're like almost 4 months away from marathon weekend, actually. Four and a
Oh
half.
my
Close.
gosh.
Julian's face just went from, like, total elation to, like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Julian, let's
Like,
put
I
it in
don't
perspective though. You don't have to have a baby between now and then.
I
That
do
is
not
true.
have to do anything with that. That is correct.
That's all Brit. And I will just say, what comes with Dopey is 4 amazing costumes
Yes.
that we
Mhm.
can
I can't wait to
expect
see
from
your
you.
costumes.
I have a few themes that I'm exploring right now. I have a few races that I will have some sort of themed costumes with a few folks that are also running. Don't know, kind of, again, if I want to just take it for that singular race, or if I want to kind of extend it to all 4 races. But again, all in due time.
You'll have to
But
stay
yeah,
tuned.
stay tuned. I that is one of my biggest things. Like, I don't share a lot about costumes before the actual event, before the actual race. I try to keep things a little very tight, very tucked away. But I'm actually really I actually was just thinking about this morning, and kind of trying to put the pieces together of, like, how I'm actually going to do it. I'm very excited for my Disneyland 10K Halloween race.
I can't
I
wait.
just am
That's like
excited.
super specific.
It's very specific, because I'm just going into it, like, I'm going to be in full theme, and I'm just super excited about it. It's
Well,
Haunted Mansion, And we'll just leave it at that. A few people know, but I'm just really excited to
We'll
just
have guesses.
I just
Yeah, we're gonna have to have
I
guesses
yeah.
on Julian's costumes
Yeah.
for
Yes.
various weekends.
We can start like a pool and being like,
Yeah.
okay,
What
Hey,
is he gonna be?
what's happening next? But I cannot say thank you enough for joining us on this episode. I am so sad that it's over because this has been genuinely such a treat and a delight talking with you. And I really hope that you would come back on our podcast anytime. You are more than welcome to chat with us. Maybe we'll have to do an episode about marathon weekend training since you're first
Yeah.
time dopey, I'm a first time goofy. Britt's going to be bringing a little one into the world. Michelle is going to keep me from
Yeah.
having panic attacks.
You got this.
Um,
That's my job here.
so many things happening.
We'll have so much to share. We'll
So
have so
much to
much to
share.
share.
It has been a complete pleasure. I can't, again, this has gone way too fast. We definitely have to have you on the podcast again because
Yes.
I can listen to you talk all day. That's
Oh.
that's the end of my story. But anybody else want to add on before we say goodnight?
I'm just thankful that you decided to come on the podcast. It was really awesome to be able to hear the experience from somebody who attended D23. It actually gets me more excited to go at some point. But thank you so much for just not entertaining us, but giving us your experience and your thoughts and everything else like that. We're so thankful.
Yep.
Of course.
And then just as you just brought who you are and, gave us goosebumps and chills all the way through. So thank you for
emotions.
sharing that
No, of
magic.
course.
Yeah.
And the fact that, and I also want to point out, and we will put this to close, it is I know it's not I know it's an event that not everybody will be able to attend for whatever reason, tickets, costs, timing, whatever the reason is. I know that is a factor, and I'm 100% cognizant of the fact that the experience of D23 is not something that people could be the most diehard Disney fan ever, and they could just not attend that for whatever reason. Life is still happening, despite D23's existence. And I want to call out the fact that that is okay. It does not change or alter or challenge anyone's outlook on Disney if you're not at this event. I think I just want to call that out as well, because I think some folks really feel sometimes this, maybe kind of like imposter syndrome, and was like, I'm an ultimate Disney fan, but I'm not there. Like, do I have to be there in order to kind of like claim that? No, you don't. And I think that's super important to call out to make sure that like it is just known that just because Disney holds this type of space does not limit or inhibit people from wearing that badge proudly. Because it is a global community, and it is not something that is just defined based off of an attendance of an event. So I just want to call that out as well, because I think we put that perspective out there, and I recognize that in 2 years from now, people will say, oh, I'm going to go there, I'm going to go, and it's just not going to happen. I just want to call that out. It does not change your Disney craziness, whether you were there. It might make it worse, but it might make it
We'll
worse.
check in 2 years from now and see how much
Yeah.
Julian's crazy has
Yeah.
grown.
But no, thank you all for having me. This was such a pleasure and a joy to be able to share for the first time in this sort of way my D23 experience, and I'm just forever grateful.
We are forever grateful for you.
Thank
And
you.
it is people like you that bring us those who cannot make it to D23 that we find those friendships, we forge them, and we learn that it's okay not to be there, but we have ways of having that Disney outlet. And we
Yes.
appreciate you and all those content creators that do what you guys do. It's hard work. It definitely is hard work, but we love you for it. And we can't say thank you enough for being on the podcast. And you'll be back, hopefully.
Yes.
Unless
Love you all too.
I mean, we have to go get lost in Villain's Land when that arrives.
We have to. Like, it's just going to be a
Absolutely.
thing. And then it's going to be a matter of Princess Weekend going through Villain's Land. Like that's going to be a thing eventually.
I just might live in Maleficent's castle. I'm sold that it's Maleficent's castle. So, but it is that time that we want to thank you for listening to Generally Magical. If you enjoyed the episode, please give us a 5-star review and subscribe on your preferred listening platform. Be sure to follow us on Generally Magical and make sure you are following this individual, Bats About Disney, our Julian, because you do not want to miss what's coming up for him. He is, like we said a million times, a joy and a delight and such a positive force in this world. So with that being said, thank you for listening. I'm Jen.
I'm Brittany.
And I'm Michelle.
And with that, our episode comes to an end. And in the words of Winnie the Pooh, I go up, I go down, and I touch the ground, which does put me in the mood for food. Have a good night, everybody.
You went there. Oh my
Of course I go there.
Winnie the Pooh. I mean, at least some food.